So last week, um, we were talking about having compassion for both the victims and the aggressors, and that having a good heart is the medicine that ultimately heals all conflicts. And it is the great antidote to selfishness and the problems that come from selfishness. Having a good heart naturally gives rise to understanding and compassion, and it makes us more open to listening and more able to see why we're having interpersonal problems and how to resolve them. As we give rise to a good heart, we watch our own and others' happiness grow. Probably all of you have a friend or a relative or a coworker that just can't seem to get out of their own way. They keep insisting on certain behaviors and attitudes and patterns of speech that they just keep sabotaging themselves. And then they don't understand why my life doesn't go forward, why everybody's against me, why nothing ever works out for me. And yet, we from the outside can see so clearly it's because they insist on certain destructive behaviors that they're constantly shooting themselves in their own foot. So for those people, we need to have great compassion and pray for them that at some point they also can try to develop a good heart, try to be less self centered, and naturally these obstructive behaviors will fall away. The great Buddhist scholar and master Shantideva said that awakening the good heart is like finding a precious gem in a mound of filth. Once we discover it in the ash heap of our mental poisons, we should never lose or disregard it. Just by hearing about it or acknowledging it for an instant, we receive the blessings of the enlightened beings. Like the first light of the rising sun, this is the dawn of spiritual practice. Maybe some of you have had the experience that maybe when you were a child, maybe when you were a teenager, maybe as an adult, maybe it still hasn't happened, but maybe at some point you were questioning, what is this life about? Why am I here? Why is there so much suffering in the world? And you come to the conclusion, I'm here to help. I'm here to try and make this world a better place. I'm here to try to have a good heart. If you've had that moment, that is the dawning of the sun of enlightenment. That is the lighting the candle of enlightenment. That's the first flame, the first light. And Shantideva also says it's so precious. It's like a candle flickering in the wind. We have to protect it at all costs and not let that flame blow out. To bring forth the good heart, we must use spiritual methods. We are never too old or too young to do so. One of the key points of these teachings is that everyone can apply them. We begin by cultivating pure motivation, contemplating the experiences of those caught in cycles of suffering. We give rise to compassion and the aspiration to do whatever we can to help them. But we need more than just the wish to benefit. For example, let's say we want to save a drowning person. But if we can't swim or don't have a boat or a rope, we won't be able to. We must learn to swim before we can save others. With the love and compassion now in our hearts, we might be able to help 10, 20, 1,000, or maybe 100,000 people. But even that is not sufficient, for countless beings suffer at every single moment. Despite our good intentions, our ability to help others is very limited. Any positive impact that we can make at this point will be only temporary because our spiritual capacity is meager. So we need to dedicate ourselves to expanding that capacity, to fully realizing our inherent positive qualities. Just adding on here, Even though our capacity is limited, even though we can only help a being temporarily right now, we don't let that opportunity go by. If we can help a dog on the street, if we can help an insect, if we can help a friend, don't think, oh, it's too meager, it's too small. I need to help everybody and miss the opportunities to help individuals on a one by one basis. And if you think about it, time is infinite. If we help individuals on a one by one basis, ultimately we'll help them all. So don't disregard small acts of kindness. Our true nature is a state of perfection imbued with wisdom, compassion, and the potential to create limitless benefit. For most of us, this nature is currently obscured, like a crystal covered in filth. We aren't omniscient and haven't completely developed our compassion and ability to help. However, through spiritual practice, we can fully actualize these qualities.